Okay, guys, I realize we have been pounding information like literally almost down your throat type thing, okay? Let's kind of go around the room. Are you okay? Does anybody else have any questions on elements of time before we kind of bail out of this feature? Did you know that you could also add FlexGrid to elements of time, okay? FlexGrid is almost like its own little database on top of the application. So anything that you can dream up that you need time for, we technically can do it right now. It's just kind of somewhat of a manual process versus an automated process. So if you can dream it up, we can almost do it right now. So
why would you need to do FlexGrid? You know?
Okay, so what if you needed custom fields for, okay, so say I'm tracking things down to the second as far as what's happening in a manufacturing environment, but I wanted to know which product run I was on and which this and which this. I might need some extra fields to record that data so it was searchable.
Are you going to touch on FlexGrid at all?
We haven't done a single thing. Should we call on Master Steve-O to do an introduction to FlexGrid? Does anybody have any other questions on elements of time?
FlexGrid is one of the other things that I'm like, I'm going to use that.
Steve,
Are you going to go there, or are you going to go the other direction for the?
for e-commerce?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
where would you like us to go?
Commerce is new and big.
Okay, it is. It is new and big. It's kind of cool. You guys want to see just generally how things work? Okay, we're going to switch gears. We're heading towards e-commerce, okay? So technically, a couple things we're going to need. Probably some more permissions and probably some more settings, okay? That's how we build Adilas, permissions and settings, permissions and settings. So the first thing let's do is let's go to permissions, okay? So what we're going to do, depending on which interface you're at, we're going to eventually get back to our payees and permissions. And I'm going to click on my name. Okay, so this is probably going to be a system maintenance. I apologize. System maintenance. And we're going to kind of scroll down a little bit until we find a silver one that says Manage Web Inventory. Okay, and then we're going to scroll down to the bottom. That's the only permission that we need, and edit. Okay, so what this one does is it actually opens up certain pieces of the puzzle. Now, I'm going to actually pull up a graphic really quick so you can see something so we can kind of talk on a small level, okay? So we talked about the universe level kind of being Adilas, and there's lots of different worlds, and each little world is different. Well, not everybody wants their stuff showing to the outside world, okay? So for instance, Adilas, we sell mostly services, and we don't want people on our website browsing our services right this second until we have everything ready. So our settings are turned off. That's way up at kind of the universe and or world level, okay? Basically, as soon as you start getting into the world level, we allow you to kind of, what happens in e-commerce? This world is secured. So Debbie needs to log in, Danny needs to log in, Shannon needs to log in, permission settings, permission settings. Our whole world is built on this whole rigid structure. So if we want to do e-commerce or even show our products outside, what do we need to do? We need to open it up. Here's what we do to open it up. We basically say, just so you know, you also got a moon with that planet, and we're going to call that e-commerce and or web presence, okay? So by default, you guys can actually turn your moon on or off, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to come inside of Adilas. I'm going to click to the classic homepage just because it has a little better link to kind of show you where things are at. And there's a little link that we're missing right here. It's another little permission. It kind of talks about outside stuff. So we're gonna once again add one more permission. This is going to be under System Basics. So find your name, and we're going to go to System Basics. And down towards the bottom, there's a little one that says View Web Inventory. This basically says, hey, you're going to go outside of the protected environment, okay? So we're virtually going to the moon, okay? Bottom of the page, submit it. Now, if I come back to my home page and I wanted to once again go back to the classic, I now have this little thing that says View Web Inventory. So here's the address of our moon, AdilasWebServices.biz. and then it has a corporation key, which is basically tilde space J3666. Okay, this is the name of my corporation key. What it's trying to do is this tilde space J is this tilde space J. If I don't like that, I could actually go DEN-0366 and it will still work as well. It's just 3 letters of the name of the corporation and then an ID number to push you out to that outside level. Now, what I'm going to do, just so you can kind of see, I'm just going to copy and paste this. Actually, watch this. We'll just click right here, View Web Inventory. It'll probably deny me because it's like, I'm sorry, your corporation hasn't turned that on yet. So basically, a moon exists, but I can't get to it because there's a setting inside that hasn't really allowed me to go outside yet. Okay. I'm going to come back in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make this active. Okay. You can do this all by yourself. We're going to go home. We're going to go back to the corp-wide settings, and we're going to go clear to the bottom. Don't worry about the number. Just go clear to the bottom. Control-End will get you all the way to the bottom. We're dealing with basically numbers 62 and 63. Okay, so here's basically, do we want to allow this to be shown on the web? And we say, yes, we do actually want to show this. And I only want to show my items, my parts and general inventory. Okay, I'm fine with showing prices. I'm fine with showing a contact page. If I have special pricing, I'm going to go ahead and call it like this. And if I really knew my address, I could set that up. Okay, these are settings within the main corp-wide settings. This is basically activating our moon. Okay, so if I hit Save Settings, and now if I go home and back to the classic homepage, and I hit View Web Inventory, I should now be able to go out to that moon. Okay, so I wanted to point your attention to this. We are no longer in Adilas.biz. We are now in a completely different place, which we will call the moon. And here's basically what we do. Look at all this kind of stuff. This is what the customer would see. Very, very basic stuff. And say they wanted to see some of Dan's drums. They could click on it, and here's Dan's drums. 200, boom, boom, boom. There's no add to cart. There's no nothing. All we've done is said, hey, we'll turn the moon on so you could look. Okay? We'll turn that moon on. So if we viewed it, it's no problem. We can kind of come into a little bit very, very simplistic. Okay? You can see that there's minimal links. You can't edit anything. It's basically just show. Okay? So what ends up happening here, let's go find the one that has the moose on it. So I know it was stuffed animals of some sort. Let's go see what we have here. Ah, yay. Okay, so this is the picture that we put on earlier today. And so if I click on it, as you do pictures inside of Adilas, if you wanted to, and you told them to show, they could technically be shown outside. Here's where your CEO and your search engine optimization stuff can come in, because guess what? It could technically find anything it does, including this right here. Photo by whatever your name is. You can even use your name again and again and again, and it's going to start finding those type of stuff. Okay, so this is from inside of our secured environment. I can look at it, but I can't really do much about it. Okay, so all we're doing is we're just looking. Once again, it's very simple. Their interface that the people end up getting is this. Okay, if they want to say, hey, cool, what do we have under drums? Go. Okay, it looks like I've got 2 of them. See how the images are bigger right here? The main difference here is you can set these settings, small or medium. If I go small, here's the same piece. It just shows a smaller version of that. Like once you start having your items, it really allows you to do something. Just to give you an idea, let me show you this really quick. We're just going to go to Adilas Web Services. And I'm going to jump into one that kind of has some fun stuff. Okay, so this is once again in the Adilas Web Service. This is a remote thing, but say you wanted to actually see some high-wing aircraft. Okay, if you didn't want it in the small version, you could literally go like this and say, I want this under all the high-wing, medium, go. So this is what your customers get to see, and all of a sudden they can start seeing some of these different pieces of the puzzle. Okay, so these are external pieces. It also works the same thing for their items. So I know that Steve has some avgas in here. So here's some of his little avgas for his airplane. And you could technically look at it and see it. So this is basically a remote spot that just exists. Once again, it's under Adilas Web Services, but I'm just kind of bouncing into some different corporations to give you an idea of what the moon kind of looks like. Okay, so I'm going to switch to a different one. Okay, so here's a Morningstar Trailers one. They've got tons and tons of different little pieces. But say I wanted to see what they had under fiberglass toppers. Like, basically, what do you want to show? I'm just trying to show you that like this is outside the secured environment, but you're able to show your stuff automatically. You already get this pre-configured website. Here's some interesting things that you can do with this. Okay, you can see how we have the logo and all this kind of stuff around it. If you actually knew some stuff about HTML, you could actually come in here and say, navigation, I want to change that to hide. And this is actually all documented. So now I could show this exact same page without any navigation. I could actually nest it in, say, what's called an iframe, which is like your own custom wrapper, and then you see somebody's inventory of what's going on. Okay? What I'm trying to do is just show you that we can show a bunch of these pieces outside of the main website. I'm going to jump back a number of steps here.
So every existing client has it within their TorqueWhite settings already. You don't have to turn anything on the back.
In order to show the moon, you can show it. As soon as you're ready, you say, sweet, I'm ready to show it. If you want to go to the e-commerce level, it actually goes to a step further because all of a sudden it's like, wow, okay, one, we need to make sure we have some settings, okay? Are they doing e-commerce? Are they just billing? Are they doing this? So that what we do is we kind of pull it back in. We'll let you show your moon as soon as you want to, okay? Sorry, Dan, was that a bad phrase?
Don't tell me that.
Okay, so they can do that immediately, and all that does is just show their items.
By just setting the corporate white settings.
By setting corporate white settings, it's towards the bottom, and they can show that.
Okay.
If we want to go to the e-commerce level, guess what we need to do? We need to play at this level, and Adilas needs to say, okay, this person is ready for e-commerce. Let me go turn that on for you.
And I would just shoot you an email?
You would shoot Steve an email,
okay,
and we would do that. Do you guys want to see the difference between just the normal, I'm calling it the moon, okay, but basically it's outside of our world, okay? Let's show you what an e-commerce type setting would look like, alrighty? So let's do this. I'm going to come back in here. Now I can't from where I'm at. I don't have the permissions even to add it to my own Denver training. I have to go to Adilas. Like I have to go as an admin user to Adilas. I'll jump in here, and now I'm going to actually say, cool, let's go to the Corp homepage. Let's go. I'm going to be under Play Sites, and I'm going to find July training, Denver. Okay, and here's my admin settings. Okay, so here's some custom little home pages that we added behind the scenes. You can't add these. We get to add these ourselves. Check this out. Advanced Web E-commerce settings. Okay, this is what we turn on for your corporation. Okay, so basically, say we wanted to allow quotes. We can determine the name. Say we're going to allow you to just quote something. Like you don't really want to pay for it yet. You just want to quote it. Okay, then you come down. Do you want to allow full e-commerce? Yeah, let's go ahead and allow full e-commerce as well. So I'm going to allow you to do a quote or an e-commerce. Or say I just wanted to place an online order, which is kind of like, for instance, Russell, if he's doing custom flutes and little sculpture stuff, he's going to have all of his little items showing, and he's going to have this little thing that says, hey, create an order. Hey, I have like 2 of these and 2 of these, 2 of these. And by the time the person comes in there, they've told him what they want. We capture his customer information, and then no payment is necessarily made because he's doing custom stuff, okay? It's not something that I can just ship out. So that would be an order, okay? So that it starts splintering a little bit as far as like, what are your needs, okay? I'm just going to go like this. Let's allow codes. Let's allow invoices. Okay, here's a little thing. Do I want to sell anything in the sun, or do I want to make sure I have a valid quantity, okay? So some people are like, dude, I want to sell anything. I will go to Walmart and buy it if I have to, and then ship it, okay? But some people are like, no, no, no. If I don't have it, I don't want to play. So literally, we have another setting. You turn it on or off, okay? Do you want to include shipping with that? Free shipping, say it's general, like $10. The shipping needs to be built out a little bit further, so it's, especially if we get into crazy, crazy items where it's like, ooh, this one's going to be $25 for this and this and this. Right now, it's either free, like no shipping, free shipping, or a general blanket shipping. That's where the level's at right now as far as shipping goes. I'm just going to leave this right now. I'm going to say, yes, I will allow new customers, or you can say no. So basically what happens here is if you say don't allow new customers, say for instance in Colorado, the medical marijuana people are not allowed to sell to new customers. They have to have red card information and all this kind of stuff like this, and so they would not select that. They do not want something to add to themselves new. But if I'm at general e-commerce and I'm Russell out there, I have no clue that Danny actually wants to buy one of Russell's flutes. Oh yeah, I'll allow new customers to be added. So once again, it gets into all these choices and stuff. So this is why we pulled it to an admin level. I don't want to put this on a user to kind of like know all of these things and then also make sure they have merchant process. Basically, you're talking a whole new animal when you talk e-commerce, okay? It literally is a new animal. So I'm going to say, yep, we're going to allow that. We're going to come down here. Let's say that the customer needs to sign in through email address. And how about zip code? Okay, so this is how they're going to sign in if they exist already, okay? So 9 and 10, if I went down here, it actually would say, guess what? You could potentially say, we could use the customer ID, the email, the zip, the cell, the home, the phone, the birth date, like the customer tax ID, whatever we needed to. These are login values that a customer is going to, you're virtually creating their username and password where they could then come in and log in to actually purchase if they're a returning customer versus a new one, okay? So actually, let's do this before we start getting really crazy. Let's just do a basic quote. Let me show you how we take it to the next level, okay? We'll say basic quote. We'll just let you do it and allow new customers. I'll let you sign in if you want to, no problem. A location, I'm going to put it all into Brandon's, and I'm going to also put it under Brandon here. Ideally, you would set all of these pieces up, and you may have to even do some prep work, okay? And we're going to do a client invoice right off the bat. And I want my thumbnails to be medium, and I want to show 50 per page. Okay, so I'm leaving a couple of them blank because we're just going to be dealing with the quote aspect of this particular piece. Okay, I'm good to go. I'm going to say Save Settings. Okay, now the thing that kind of happened is I was technically in Adilas. I was in the universe level. I'm going to switch back to my corporation where the Denver training stuff. And if I go to the classic homepage again, watch this. If I click View Web Inventory, it switched on me right here. Look at this. Instead of going to Adilas Web Services, it's going to go to Adilas.biz/shop. And the reason is we have a secure socket layer, and I can pull tons more information that I need to actually do real e-commerce. So watch this. I'm going to click on this. Okay, so technically I'm now in physically Adilas.biz. I'm still in the secure socket layer. I'm in shop, which is outside of the secured environment, and I have all of my pieces here. Let's find these, where were your just kind of stuffed animals. Let's take a look. Okay, so all of a sudden, now look at this. I now have new pieces of a feature, okay? Say I wanted to add a couple of these to a cart. So very simplistic. I don't have a whole lot of options. This is what your customer would see, okay? Similar kind of things. They could always return to a thing. They could continue shopping. It remembers right where you were. You were on this page. If you wanted to actually drill down into the item, you could technically add your items. If it's in each, it has validation built in. So if you say, I want 4.5 of these stuffed animals, it'll be like, okay, nice try. You really only get 4. Like it has all sorts of little validation built into it. Here's your simple cart. We have 3 items, total of $54. If I wanted to add some printable notes, I could do it. I could either say, so say I updated something, 3, update the cart, very similar to inside of Adilas. but this is all external, okay? Outside, I could add notes if I wanted to, and then I could say start the quote. Yes, go ahead.
If I had like chocolate bars like in bulk, technically couldn't I use, you can get 4.5 pounds?
Okay, so that depends on how you're selling the things. If it sees this unit of measurement called each, it does not allow a decimal. Okay, but if you have your unit of measurement set to something else, as ounces, pounds, whatever, it'll be, oh, sweet, go ahead and play it, 3.7. Like, we told it to show a bunch of our things, and we can actually go in independently and hide some of our objects, okay? Like, we allow you to kind of tweak it out to whatever level. And so, basically, let's just do the simple one first, okay? So we have a little cart that's built outside of the secured environment. It's Adilas.biz/shop. I'm going to actually open up a brand new one, new tab, because I don't even know which email addresses and zip codes we have in there, or because we told it not to add new, I think. Let me just check this out. Let's go to the start quote. Oh, I could create a new one. Should I just create a new one? Say I'm Joe Public, okay? We'll create a new one. Normal. I'm Joe Public. Okay, now you'll notice inside of Adilas, you basically have to put a name and a zip code. But for e-commerce, we're forcing a little bit more validation. I need an address, a city, a state, a zip, and I want an email from you. Like, I'm going to say, you got to feed me a little bit more information. So I'm going to kind of put in here 101 North, and let's call it Denver. Okay, and I'm going to come down here and put in something here. Okay, as soon as I'm ready, I say add that client. So I'm still technically in my checkout. So here's my Joe Public person. I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. Here's how easy it is. So from the external, from the /shop, I could say submit, save as quote. Click. So I can now technically print this. This is my quote. I just ordered 62 of these things from here. What I wanted to do is inside of, see this number 17? Technically, if I go back inside of the main Adilas place where we were playing at, I'm going to show you how we actually have quote number 17 just hit. Okay, so here, this was actually done from externally. So if I click on the history on this thing, it's going to actually say, hey, just so you know, a new cart was created and all this kind of stuff. Should even tell me that Joe Public, if I wanted to go to his particular log notes, okay, it should say entered from the web. Like, it's telling me a bunch of things, including all the history as far as, like, it's basically, it's inline, it's from external, but we're allowing it to come in to internal places, okay? Now that we have his stuff, and say it was Joe, and what did I put it, 84555 and test it MSN? Watch this. Let's say that I'm Joe again, and I actually wanted to go back to my account. Maybe I wanted to do a new search. I could technically go buy some other stuff, and I could be like, hey, yeah, cool, let's grab some flutes and one of these. Let's go ahead and do this. Great, let's do it. Yeah, 655 bucks. I'm fine with that. Oh, guess what? I'm still in as Joe Public. Is that me? Yes or no? Let's continue with the cart. Like, it's ready to do it again. So externally, quote 19. Somebody else was playing because I just noticed it skipped from 17 to 18. No problem. No problem. But watch this. If we come in here, let's go here to the quotes homepage. And let me just make sure that it's grabbing all areas. And hit search. Okay, so somebody else did one for Joe Inc. Perfect, for 94 bucks. I can go check it out. So these are technically things that are here that have been done. If I restore this to the cart so I can actually really make it a real invoice, I just restored this one to the cart. I can come down. I can tell it was a web quote, like it's already flagging it for me, okay? It tells me this. Oh, you know what? We were actually only able to do 3 of those, and we want to update it. Like, basically, once it's inside of Adilas, I can manipulate it however I want, but it got fed from an external source, okay? That's the starting of e-commerce. That's just kind of the ordering or quoting level. If you go clear to the invoice level, you have to have more pieces. Do you have merchant processing set up with Adilas? If not, then we can't really play because how are we supposed to take a credit card? So that's why I wanted to kind of show you that it's kind of a step-by-step process. If you want to expose the outside moon of your world, we'll give you corp-wide settings. You can do it right this second. If you don't want to do that, or if we want to take it clear to the e-commerce level, one, we want to make sure you're ready, and two, we want to kind of work with you a little bit on that. Okay, so that's kind of where things are going.